Hello, my name is Mario Garza. I am a first year's master student in the Department of Geography. My research concentrates mainly on modeling wildfires, bark beetles with climate variables and climate change. For this final project, I'm looking at some raster uncertainty between land cover for these polygons I have for the bark beetles. So what do these bark beetles do? They're an ecological disturbance. Basically, an ecological disturbance is a disruption in the ecosystem, whether a natural force or unnatural. What they've done here, when they burrow into the bark of the trees, they lay their eggs and their larvae, they feast upon the phloem tissue. As you can see, over 10 years, they can make a mess out of a forest. So with climate change, we're seeing that temperatures are warming up. And we're seeing the northward expansion of these bark beetles. They're moving north and north and north. And from this map, you can see they're moving towards Santa. And what's happening is that less cold spells. Their mortality rate is about negative 40 degrees Celsius, or when you get that cold, it's Fahrenheit. And they burrow into the trees. They also metabolize an alcohol that works as an antifreeze. Now, one of the major concerns about bark beetles is that as they kill millions of acres of trees, they take out the ability of those trees to absorb carbon from the atmosphere. So as we're raising temperature, raising carbon dioxide, we're also losing the ability of that carbon dioxide to be absorbed by the trees. What used to be a primary concern, forest fires now are taking a sidestep of concern next to bark beetles. They're growing fast. They are growing fast. And the problem is they're helping themselves out. When they infest a tree, they help kill that tree. And when they kill that tree, we lose that carbon sink. And when we lose that carbon sink, the carbon dioxide stays up in the air, works as an enhanced greenhouse gas, warming the temperature up, which actually helps increase the more spread of that bark beetle. This is what's called a carbon cycle. This is the interaction between the atmosphere and the surface of carbon between each other. What I'm focusing on is the autotrophic respiration. We're seeing a reduction in autotrophic respiration because of the bark beetle killing all these trees. So here is a GIS map showing the polygons of these bark beetles spreading throughout the years. I actually have budworm information that shows a spread in the opposite direction. So that's another primary research, but I'm not going to get into that. But the main thing is, here's the polygons I'm looking at. I'm looking at raster vegetation data that goes right in place of that DEM. So this is my aerial survey data. It's got lots and lots of information. So much that I have to extract individual values just to make heads or tails of what I'm looking at. They got all kinds of insect data, and this can be very useful. Next, I need to know how accurate it is. First thing to do is look at a vegetation data. So I'm going to refer to some of these, I'm going to show you some of these pie charts. They're Homer Simpson's favorites, so we're going to stick with them. I think they get a bigger picture than the other ones. As you can see from the percent coverage, we got 90% of evergreen forest in these bark beetle polygons. I used an extract by mask, and then I ran the calculations on that. This is really accurate. And now we look at 2006, we got 88%. I'm going to get to that in a second, though. But one of the main reasons why I didn't reclassify this, because anything I would have reclassified it with or joined them, it's 0%, like mixed forest. I don't see the need for that. Here we have 87% evergreen. So now we went from 90% to 87% evergreen. So what's going on? Well, we're losing this 3%. And where is it going to? So I ran the numbers. And here you're going to see the raw numbers. So for the evergreen, we're losing 3%. But look at the shrubs and herbaceous. They're growing by that increase. And combined is that same number. And again, if you look at the other stuff too, they're very minimal. So I'm not even bothering with that. But here's the gap data, Montana Land Cover Framework data. This is a big mess. So, but I like how they have their individual species in class. I can do an individual bark beetle study by species with their specific host trees, but not for this project. I need to reclassify this. So, 79% conifer forest and 11% shrub. Oh no, this is not good, especially when looking at that previous NLCD data. But what I like here, I'm seeing that 4% burnt by fire. that 4% can actually explain where that 3% is what we're looking at. Now here is this gap data, which I only did for the bark beetle polygons, and you can see 75% of it is in the burnt by forest, and if you see the little fire polygons, you can see that red is only in those polygons. So I know that that's good. But for that 75%, I'm like, okay, where's the other 25% at? So I looked at the individual years. Boom, the 2012 and the 2013 gap data was not reclassified as burnt data yet. Not yet. So I'm going to eliminate that outlier. We got 80%. This is much better. This is a 5% gain in certainty. Problem is, I still got that 20% still scares me. And when I did a further analysis on it, I zoomed in. The aerial survey data is high resolution. The gap data is 30-meter resolution. So a lot of it was on the outer periphery of those wildfire polygons. So in the end, I'm looking at the different NLCDs. I think I have an idea what happened to that 3% with that 4% gap data of the burnt area. I think that might be part of it. Also, we're probably seeing land turn into shrubs with the wildfires. I like the accuracy of the NLCD. That 90% I loved. I'm still really confused what to use, but the gap data is great for looking at the individual tree species and then matching them up to the bark beetle that prefers that particular species of tree.